Hey,
Sit on the floor. You don't belong here. I looked up slowly from the plastic folding chair I'd just barely pulled out for myself. My sister's son, Logan, 9 years old, entitled like he was king of the damn world, stood in front of me holding a paper plate. My birthday cake. Except the slice was now under the table. He shoved it toward me with his foot like I was a stray dog. Before we begin, drop a comment and tell us where are you from and from which city you're watching our videos? And after watching the whole video, don't forget to tell us what would you do in this situation? Be honest, tell me in the comments below. We read every comment. Let's begin. Everyone at the long, decorated table, my mom, my sister Jenna, her smug husband Derek, my uncle, my cousins, burst into laughter. Real, actual laughter. My mother tilted her head and said with a soft smile, "He's just playing." Don't be so sensitive, Delaney. Sensitive? I looked around. No one even shifted in their seat. No one stood up for me. The whole table full of blood relatives just watched me get humiliated at my own birthday dinner. And it hit me harder than I expected. This wasn't new. This was just the first time they stopped pretending. I took a deep breath. My stomach was tight, my chest a burning furnace. But I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just smiled. And I stood up. I pulled my phone from my purse, walked past the table without another word. Their laughter faded behind me like static. Out the door. Into the cold. I opened my banking app. Clicked on my sister's joint auto loan. Freeze. Mom's utilities? She'd been piggybacking on my credit for years.
cut.
Dad's lease I co-signed when his credit tanked.
Gone.
That house they all lived in, the one they thought Grandma left to everyone equally? Spoiler. She didn't. The deed was in my name. The power. The gas. The internet. Every bill with my name on it? Cancelled. Then I went to my contacts. One by one blocked. By the time I got home, my phone was already buzzing with the fallout. 34 missed calls. And that was just the beginning. By morning, the storm had started. I woke up to my phone dancing across the nightstand like it was possessed, buzzing nonstop. My screen lit up with missed calls, voicemails, frantic texts, and desperate messages from nearly everyone who had laughed at me the night before. Mom, Delaney, the Wi-Fi isn't working. Is it the company?
Can you check?
Jenna, why are the lights out? Logan scared. Dad, your little tantrum last night better not have anything to do with what's happening here. But it did. And I wasn't sorry. I stood by the window, coffee in hand, watching the sun rise slowly over the city. For once, I wasn't anxious. I wasn't checking emails or planning how to make ends meet. I was just still.
Calm.
Like someone who'd finally stopped pretending. They had no idea. They didn't know that when Grandma passed away, she didn't divide her estate equally. She left everything, her house, her savings, her stocks, to me. Quietly. Privately. Because she saw what they didn't. She told me once, "You're the only one in this family who doesn't wear a mask." But I wore one. I wore it every holiday, every family gathering, every fake, "We're proud of you" brunch. I wore it for them. The ones who rolled their eyes when I said I was starting my own business. The ones who called me selfish when I said no to funding another one of Derek's failed ventures. The ones who said I thought I was better than them just because I didn't crawl back home when things got hard. And yet, I still helped them. I let Mom use my name to get cheaper insurance. I co-signed Jenna's car when her credit was a joke. I let Dad refinance under my name just to avoid foreclosure. I paid bills they never even asked about, just left lying on my desk, assuming I'd handle it. And I did. I always did. Until they shoved my birthday cake under a table and laughed. Now, the gloves were off. I pulled up the security cam app on my phone. The house, Grandma's house, was dark. The lights were out. The porch light flickered once, then died. The utility company had moved fast. I'd shut off power, water, and gas with a few clicks. All legal. All tied to accounts I owned. I sipped my coffee and listened to one of the voicemails. "Dad, what kind of sick game are you playing? You don't just shut off the power to your family's house in the middle of the night. There's a kid in here. Your nephew. My finger hovered over the delete button. Nephew? The same one who told me to sit on the floor? I deleted the voicemail. Then another came in, this one a text from Jenna. Okay, you've made your point. Now turn it all back on. I laughed. Actually laughed. Like a sharp, breathless sound I hadn't made in years. Made my point? Oh no, Jenna. We weren't even halfway done. I grabbed my laptop, logged into the bank. There it was, the joint account I opened years ago to help the family manage their finances. I'd funded it, they'd drained it. Now it had a single-digit balance, $7.42. I transferred what little remained to my personal account, then closed it. Their Netflix?
Gone.
Hulu? Cancelled. The grocery membership they used weekly? Revoked. Even the car insurance that kept Derek's DUI off the radar?
Done.
I sent a polite note to the company. Please remove all secondary drivers from this policy. I no longer wish to be associated with their accounts.
Click.
Sent. And as I finished, a knock came at my door. 3 soft raps. Then a pause. Then another knock, louder, more impatient. I walked to the door and looked through the peephole. It was Jenna. Her hair was pulled back, no makeup, hoodie thrown over pajamas. She looked pale, eyes swollen. No sign of Derek or Logan behind her. I didn't open the door. Instead, I pressed the intercom button and kept my voice low. Hi. She blinked, surprised. Delaney, look, I get it. Last night was... Clear, I interrupted. It was very clear. I didn't mean he's just a kid. And we were joking. Come on, you know how Mom gets when she drinks. I remember exactly how she gets. Jenna crossed her arms. So, what? You're just cutting us off. I'm setting boundaries, I said calmly. The kind that should have existed years ago. Delaney, be serious. The house is mine. You knew that. You just pretended it wasn't. You're destroying this family. No, I said, leaning slightly toward the intercom. I'm finally done letting this family destroy me. I watched as her face shifted from desperation to disbelief. She stepped back from the door, as if seeing me, really seeing me for the first time. I hope you find a way, I added. But it won't be through me anymore. She stared at the door a few seconds longer, then turned and walked away. No slam. No parting shot. Just silence. For the first time in my life, I wasn't part of their mess. And it felt incredible. By noon, the entire family was spiraling. Their group chat, which I had silently left the night before, had now become a storm of panic and outrage. I could still read the messages from my smartwatch, even though I'd already blocked them all. The car just got repossessed. Delaney's behind this. She has to be. She froze every account tied to her name. What do we do now? You better fix this. This is still family. We gave her everything, and now she treats us like dirt. They gave me everything? I laughed bitterly as I set my phone face down on the table and returned to my workspace. It was almost funny if it wasn't so pathetic. What they'd given me was trauma disguised as tradition. Constant criticism wrapped in fake smiles. Birthday cards with $5 and guilt attached. Years of being the helpful daughter who got nothing in return but a chair near the door and whispers behind her back. And still I had tried to love them. I'd shown up to every family gathering. I'd paid bills they never thanked me for. I'd smiled through insults disguised as jokes. But not anymore. That morning, I called my attorney to make everything official. Delaney, he said as he pulled up the documents on a screen, you're in the clear. The property is 100% yours. Utilities, accounts, all tied to you. You're not obligated to reinstate anything. I don't want revenge, I told him. Just closure. He paused for a beat. You've already got it. After hanging up, I decided to go for a walk. Just a short one. No makeup, hoodie, sneakers. No destination. Just space. To breathe, to think, to feel something that wasn't tightness in my chest. I stopped at a small park, sat down on a bench, and looked around. There were families there. Real ones. Not perfect, but present. A dad holding his daughter's hand as she tried to climb the monkey bars. A grandmother laughing with a toddler on her lap. Strangers but kind. And it struck me. Family isn't who shares your blood. It's who sees your worth. My real family had been people like Mrs. Harrington, my high school English teacher, who pushed me to apply for scholarships when my parents rolled their eyes. Or Maya, my best friend from college, who helped me move into my first apartment when no one in my family showed up.
And Grandma. God, Grandma.
She knew. That quiet old woman with her cardigans and crossword puzzles, she always knew who they were. And she protected me in the only way she could, by leaving everything to me. Not out of spite. Out of survival. I reached into my purse and pulled out the envelope she gave me the night before she passed. I hadn't had the courage to open it before. I did now. Inside was a handwritten letter, folded neatly. Delaney, you were never meant to carry this family's burdens. I watched them strip your light piece by piece, while you gave more than anyone ever should. That house is yours. Not because you asked, but because you never did. I'm proud of you. For staying soft in a hard world. Love. Grandma. Tears filled my eyes, but I didn't sob. I just let them fall, slow and quiet, like a cleansing rain. For the first time in years, I felt seen. Back at home, I noticed something strange. Outside my building, parked at the curb, was a car I recognized, barely, since it looked like it hadn't been washed in months. It was Derek's. And there he was, pacing by the front door, phone in hand, anger in his posture. I kept my distance, watched from across the street. He dialed. Waited. Dialed again. He finally shouted, "She's not answering any of us. This is insane. We need her, Jenna. I don't care what you say, go talk to her. Apologize. Cry if you have to. We can't lose everything over some bratty episode." Bratty episode? I didn't move. Didn't reveal. I was just feet away. They weren't sorry. They were scared. And it wasn't the kind of fear that comes from guilt. It was the fear of losing their free ride. That was all I ever was to them, a bank account with a heartbeat. I turned and walked the other way. I was done collecting apologies made only out of desperation. This wasn't revenge. This was freedom. That night, the final blow landed. And I didn't even have to lift a finger. A formal notice went out to my family's address, the house they'd called ours for years. The same house I'd paid taxes on, handled repairs for, and paid off completely without them ever knowing. The notice wasn't for me. It was from my lawyer. 30-day eviction warning. Legal. Final. Signed and stamped. I hadn't wanted to do it. For years, I let them live there rent-free, even after inheriting it. I never asked for anything back. But kindness without boundaries had only taught them to take more. And then laugh in my face. So I set the boundary they never thought I would. Get out. The messages poured in again. Mom, this isn't like you. You're being cruel. Dad, after everything we did for you, you're really doing this? Jenna, if we lose this house, Logan will never forgive you. Think about that. I didn't respond. They weren't sorry for what they did. They were sorry they lost control. There's a difference. 2 days later, I was walking through the lobby of my apartment building when the front desk receptionist looked up. "Miss Carter, you've got visitors." I froze. I told security to deny anyone not on my guest list. "I know," he said, glancing toward the security monitors. "But they're not trying to come up. They just asked us to pass this to you." He handed me an envelope.
Plain.
Handwritten. My name across the front in shaky, desperate letters. I opened it slowly, right there. Inside was a short note. Jenna's handwriting. "Delaney, please, let's talk. In person. No yelling, no games. Just you and me. I'll be at the park bench by Grandma's tree at 3 p.m. Please." For a moment, my hands trembled. Part of me, the part they trained for years to be polite, forgiving, small, wanted to rip it up and walk away. But another part, the stronger part, told me I didn't need to fear her anymore. So I went. The park was mostly empty when I arrived. The wind tugged softly at my coat as I walked the familiar path toward the old oak tree Grandma used to sit under. There she was, Jenna, sitting on the bench in faded jeans and a hoodie, looking nothing like the smug older sister who used to call me Miss Invisible at every family dinner. She looked up as I approached, stood quickly. "Delaney," she said almost too softly. "Thanks for coming." I didn't sit, just folded my arms. "Say what you came to say." She blinked, caught off guard by the bluntness. "Look, I know we crossed a line," she started, nervously twisting her hands. "Logan's a kid."
He shouldn't have said what he said.
"But he learned it from us. And I take responsibility for that." Silence. "I didn't think it'd break you." "I'm not broken," I said flatly. "I'm finally awake." Her face flushed. "Okay. I get that. I do. But Mom's sick." She's not saying anything, but I can see it. She's barely sleeping. She's scared. Dad hasn't been able to work since the repo. And Derek. I raised a hand. Don't stand here and make this about their suffering. Not when they didn't care about mine." She looked away. "You want forgiveness, Jenna?" I asked, voice calm but cutting. "Not from me. You owe it to yourself. For choosing comfort over character. You all saw it. Every dig. Every moment they humiliated me. And you said nothing. Every time." She swallowed. "You're right. I know I am. But what now?" she whispered. "Do you really want to tear the family apart like this?" My jaw tightened. I didn't tear it apart. I just stopped holding it together by myself. Her eyes filled with tears. I could see her breaking, but I didn't feel satisfaction.
Just release.
Like I had finally put down a heavy weight I'd carried too long. "I don't hate you," I added. "I just don't trust you. And I'm done sacrificing myself to keep the peace." She nodded slowly, wiping her eyes. "So, this is goodbye?"
No.
"This is boundaries." And I turned, walking away, not because I was cruel, but because I finally understood something vital. You don't have to set yourself on fire to keep others warm.
2 weeks passed.
They moved out.
Quietly.
No tantrums. No begging. The locks were changed. The house was deep cleaned. A for rent sign went up. I got texts from extended family who suddenly cared after years of silence. "You were always too sensitive, Delaney. This isn't how families fix things. Why not just forgive and move on? You think you're better than us now, huh?" I didn't respond to a single one. Because I wasn't angry anymore. I was free. In their eyes, I was selfish.
Cold.
Heartless. But the truth? I was finally choosing myself. No more, just put up with it. No more family is everything when family treated me like nothing. I wasn't the quiet one anymore. I was the woman who stood up, walked out, and never looked back. And for the first time in my life, I belonged at my own table.